Hey everybody, welcome back to our GAMA Trade Show 2015 coverage. We are joined right now by Jason Maxwell, Richard Launius, and we are looking at 8th Summit Game here, a reprint of what seems to be a reprint, right, of Agents of Smersh?
Yes, this is the second edition.
Tell us about it.
We have a better looking box. I cleaned up the box some.
About time. Just sloppy. No.
And there's some extra things going. We have a scenario book. It's about 75 pages. It's called Showdown.
That comes right in and out.
It's not coming inside. It's separate. I don't have it here, but it's going to be in with this print in about a month. We also have a little Kickstarter box, all the extras in it from the past 2 Kickstarters. But I'm really excited about this because this one has been a solid seller for me. It still sells just as well as it did pretty much from day one.
Very cool, very cool. So tell me a little bit about that scenario book. This is a reprint, and we got the other Kickstarter bib. So what's that book? I want to hear about that book.
The scenario book is, it has 10 scenarios in it. Or is it 8? 8 to 10 scenarios in it.
It's safe. That's a safe bet.
And I wrote them, by the way, so I should know, but I think it was Plan 10. I went with 8. And you play through them. Win or lose, you continue to play. So the results of what happened in one kind of bleed over into the next one. And altogether, the first 7, what happens in the first 7 reflects what happens in the last.
That's very
one,
cool.
By the way, you actually go into space in the 8th scenario. It's a space station.
Perfect. And so you could play through that multiple times too if you wanted to?
Yeah, you could, absolutely.
Yeah.
You finally cornered Dr. Lobo there, or you think you have several times. So.
Right.
Very cool.
The idea was I wanted a scenario book where, you know how a lot of scenario books you play, and if you lose, you always want to go back and replay.
Right.
Well, this one, win or lose, you move forward. And there's actually...
no reset button, right? None of this
no, this is like real life, man.
Right.
So what I did was even if you lose some of the earlier scenarios, the director sends you back in training, so you go back and you go into the next scenario actually with more stuff. So it actually helps you to move along.
Got it.
But if you lose a lot of the scenarios, it's not going to help you in the final scenario. It's going to hurt you.
Right. Very cool. That sounds exciting. I'm looking forward to that. I think we're ignoring Rich here a little bit.
Fine.
So
I'm used to that.
all right. What else have we got? What else are we looking at here, guys?
Go ahead.
Well, I brought this, but
he brings me along just so I can move the boxes to the side.
It's useful.
This has been in works for a couple of years. It's kind of it's a children's version of a storytelling game in the same vein as Smersh, and it's going to have about 150 pages, all illustrated, and it's turned out to be a monster. But I'm really excited about the book because there's nothing like this. It's kind of a board, dice, cards, and you play it with young children. And you're going to read like 4 of these per game, so it's about a 15-20 minute game.
Okay.
So you're going to be racing against a wizard, and when you get to a stopping point, you'll roll dice, and then you'll select scenario. The parent, or if a child can read, will read it aloud. And there's usually dice rolling and rewards of cards or fun cards in there.
Now this artwork that I'm seeing in here, this is actually the artwork for this game.
A lot of the final artwork.
Yeah, because this is really extremely good. This is beautiful.
The reason it has been such a monster is halfway during the game I realized I got to have artwork on every page. And so I just doubled down and kept ordering artwork, and I think it's going to look beautiful. I mean, there's one artist doing all this, so that's why it's taken so long. But as you can see,
so what kind of time frame are you looking at for this one?
This one's going to go up this year for pre-order on Kickstarter. Probably at that point I'm going to have to really I'm going to have to really get it printed this year. So I would say at the end of the year, early next year.
Very cool. So a kid's game, storytelling, sort of like Smersh, but to play with children. Now, is there you could even have kids playing by themselves. You don't necessarily have to have an adult there. If they can read, they can go.
I'm going to kind of market it because it is for younger children. You can play with 4, 5, 6-year-olds as a parent-assisted game.
Right.
But sure, children could read their own.
Well, it's also a great bonding game, right? I mean, a lot of parents have that, where they read to the kids, and you can actually do it over a game now, play a game.
I've watched him struggle on this. He's been working on this for 2 years, and I keep telling him, you got to get it out, and he's really working it toward perfection. He hadn't shown me the artwork until like last month, and he sent me the artwork in some pages, and I read through them, and I went, holy smokes, you've got to get this thing out. There's a ton of young parents out there with young kids who would love to play this game with their kids, I think.
And the idea is, you're reading to your kid but it's a little bit different, and there is a little bit of a gameplay there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very cool. I'm excited to check this out. What's it called again?
Little Adventures Club.
The Little Adventurers Club. Very cool.
And this is not the final logo.
Nice, nice. Looking forward to that. Okay, what else are we looking at here, guys?
We got some games coming out this year. We got actually 3. I brought 2 of them here. One will go on Kickstarter probably in May, which is kind of our Mad Max post-apocalyptic game. What you're looking at here is total prototype, although, you know, we have some of the original art in the background here.
We're changing the box. It's going to be bigger.
This is me graphically doing stuff on top of it, so pay no attention to that. But basically, it's the heart of it it's a mix of my games from the past. I wanted to do a big post-apocalyptic game, but I also wanted to really rely on some things that made sense. So, you know, I've got so the heart of it is probably, you know, Defenders of the Realm. If you like Defenders of the Realm, you're probably going to like this. But also it's got adventuring in it, similar to Arkham Horror. Years ago, back in the 80s, I designed a game called Scavengers of Mutant Earth, where you would go out and scavenge in places to get things. So you can go out and dig up stuff in this one, which gives you equipment and gives you things, and you can build things. For example, you can build a platform in the city, which makes it one more level that they've got to get to before they can get to you. Cool. You can scavenge this train that was destroyed in the last war, and you can actually build blockades around the city. So they have to move those blockades out of the way before they can come on in. And you can even get an adventure that lets you build the ancient ship known as Cargo, and you can fly away from the city and win without defeating the enemy coming in. So there's all this stuff going on. There's radiated lands, and if you get too much radiation, you'll get mutations. Most mutations are good, but if you get too much, you actually become a monstrosity, which one of the leaders in this is the leader of monstrosities, and you know they only need to get 8 monstrosities on the board, and then they come at you. So you actually could end up being one of those 8 if you're not careful.
Gotcha.
And every group's different. You've got the youthful techies who, you know, they love ancient technology. They dig it up. They're all young, and if the leader of them doesn't constantly get them new technology, then he's at, you know, they'll replace him. So he sees Last Stand as the last place where there's oil and there's electricity, and guess what he needs to run all the stuff they're finding? That. So he wants it.
Right.
You've got the barbarians coming up from what used to be Mexico. They've worn out all, they ride on motorcycles, you know, like this one here, and cars, and they need oil, so they want that place. You've got what I call the Earthers. These are all Amazonian women who do not mutate at all. They believe the Earth is meant for them, and they're ready to take it. And their leader rides a big buffalo, mutated buffalo. Okay, and the miniatures on this are fantastic. We've got the miniatures, so it's going to be all miniatures. The leaders will be miniatures. Basically you become a ranger for the city. You get drafted, conscripted. So you're not like a hero who wants to do this. You're being forced to do this to support the city. Cool. So it's all going to have some beautiful miniatures involved in it. And
we're going all out on this one.
Yeah,
it sounds like it.
It's going to be big.
Yeah, it sounds like a big game. This one, I'm telling you, this theme is singing to me, and what I'm worried about here, what you got me nervous about, is the play length, because I bet this is not short. This is going to be a big boy, isn't it?
It's going to be like 2 hours.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's going to be like 2 hours.
That's pretty good.
It has everything I love in a game and what I wanted in a game. I've been looking for a post-apocalypse game and asking around for it for a while now. And
very cool.
I have invested more in this game monetarily than any game, and it's going to be our biggest game. And so far, for Ace Summit, I've kind of held back on marketing, a whole lot of marketing, and put my presence out there. I want to get a few games under my belt and get a little networking going. But with this one, I'm going to start really ratcheting up the marketing, and you're going to see this game on covers of like magazines and things like that.
Very cool.
Going to go all out here.
Very cool, very cool. So what kind of time frame are we looking at here, guys, for this one?
May. It'll go up in May, I think, on Kickstarter if we can keep on target. We met with some people doing the movie stuff to show the game just last week.
They work in TV,
yeah, they work in TV.
Very cool, very cool.
They work in the Ant-Man movie, so you know they're in all that type of stuff. So they've done some beautiful work on getting great pictures of the miniatures and the board and all that kind of stuff.
Very cool, very cool.
And then hopefully by the end of the year, is that what you're planning?
December. early next year.
Be published, December, January. If it can fund well, and I think it should, because it's going to be a good one. I'm trying to make this one have all the stuff I've done good in other games kind of blended together. And you got to be careful there, because you can get a good stew or a bad stew. But
sure.
I think we've got a good stew based on the play test so far. And
very cool. Very excited about that.
It's not even finished, and I love playing it. It's just it's a blast.
Very cool, very cool. All right, we got one more thing here we can talk about. Okay.
This is one that I put together with Mark Zogby, and it's I want to do a time travel game, and I wanted to keep it a simple game that you could play like in 30 minutes, and this is a game that plays like 30 minutes, and basically there's 5 time eras that get set out, and there are 5 tiles in each one, and basically this alien is jumping through our time and destroying our past. And you're moving as time agents to repair it. So you've got card collection. It's an action-based game where you collect cards. You use cards to correct the things that he's destroyed. But if he destroys too much of the time, and every time he destroys one a second time, a void comes out, which creates a new addition or a new issue that you have to deal with as a team.
So we're talking about a co-op here?
It's a straight co-op. It's and it's got multiple levels of playing it in terms of difficulty, but it's a 30-minute solid game, and so far, it's been a lot of fun for everybody,
and
playing,
pretty much
including me.
Just cards, pretty much, right?
It's tiles and cards.
Tiles and cards. Very cool.
I want to do this one because everybody seems to really love it, and
well, that time travel theme also. Nobody's quite. Nobody's had quite it right? So that's very exciting, guys.
So by the way, if you have, for example, Shakespeare. Instead of becoming the writer that he is, decides to become a lawyer caught up in courtroom shenanigans, okay? That ripples through time, okay? And because we revere Shakespeare more today than maybe the next era would have, it affects, you could put time ripples, tells you where to put the time ripples down the board. So too many time ripples on one will cause it to turn also. So you've got the alien flipping these locations, and then you've got time ripples that come off of the things that happen. So
very cool.
It's kind of interesting. So you go around and you fix all those stuff and work together to try to shut him down before. And you've got basically a computer program where you're trying to capture him, because the scientists said if we can get enough information on him, we can suck him out of the past and bring him in here, and we can stop his race from doing this. So you're collecting clue tokens every time you fix things to try to build that program to capture him.
Very cool, very cool. So this is what, this year as well, or a little farther out?
I just started artwork on this one, so
possibly next year.
Probably early next year. We got some other games actually that could make it this year that are almost finished. But
well, I'll tell you, you guys have an exciting year. I'll tell you that.
It's been busy.
There's a great year ahead of you. It sounds like, guys. Thanks for joining us, Richard.
Thank you,
Jason. Thank you, guys, and thank you for tuning in.